Hello, thanks for watching this pilot episode of Lessons on Galatians. I'm Pastor Mike Seifert from Living Hope Lutheran Church in Midlothian, Virginia. In connection with a class at our congregation on Paul's letter to the Galatians, I've decided to try making a few companion videos that give an overview of the content we'll discuss in class. I'm going to try to keep each one short, no more than a few minutes long, and then put them in a playlist so you can browse them and hopefully find the content you're looking for without too much trouble. In this lesson, I'd like to talk about the importance of context. Galatians is a letter addressed to Christians who were living in what's now present day Turkey 2,000 years ago, which means that we're literally reading somebody else's mail long after it was sent. God preserved it for us too in our context, but the better we grasp the ancient context Paul addresses here and the way that he addresses it, the better we'll also grasp its implications for us. For an example of the challenges of reading somebody else's mail, I've rather randomly selected this tweet. Without context, it's difficult, at least at first glance, to know what this person is tweeting about. Let's see, though, with a closer look what we can figure out. I've never seen the abbreviation USVI before, but since it's used alongside Puerto Rico and it says fellow Americans are there, we can determine with reasonable certainty that it stands for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Since people there need our help right now, we can determine there must be some sort of acute problem or tragedy going on. There's also a link here, very important in the world of Twitter. Following this would undoubtedly give us a whole lot more context and understanding. Knowing who wrote it helps even more. What probably helps the most is the date and timestamp. A quick Google search would show us that Hurricane Maria had just hit Puerto Rico a week before this was sent. So, without too much work, we can draw a lot more meaning out of this than we could at first glance. It just shows us that context is key. Some of it comes from inside the tweet, some from outside information that we can connect to the tweet. We'll be able to do the same thing with Galatians. Even though it's just one part of one side of a larger conversation, we have lots of context to help us. Some of it from inside the letter, some of it in other parts of the Bible, some of it from other historical sources. So for now, just one quick example from Galatians to demonstrate the importance of context. Here we have the entire text of the letter on a legal size sheet of paper. I'm going to try to use this consistently in our study to help us visualize where individual verses are in the context of the letter. So let's zoom into chapter 5, verse 2. It says, "Mark my words, I, Paul, tell you that if you let yourselves be circumcised, Christ will be of no value to you at all." If we didn't have any more context, if that verse were all we had, it would certainly sound like no one who is circumcised would have any hope of forgiveness through Jesus. Good thing that we have context. The immediate context of this paragraph and the greater context of the letter show us that at issue for Paul isn't the act of circumcision itself, but a person's reliance on their own obedience to the law. As he says here, trying to be justified by the law, as opposed to reliance on Jesus or faith in Jesus. So in these letters on Galatians and these lessons on Galatians, we'll pay close attention to context in order to rightly understand the meaning of Paul's words to the Galatians 2,000 years ago so that we can rightly understand the significance of this little letter for us today. In the next few lessons, we'll continue to contextualize our study by diving into what we know about the Galatians, what we know about these people who were stirring up trouble among them, what kind of trouble they were stirring up, and then we'll also look at the other people that Paul talks about in the letter. Thank you.